Hello children, today I welcome you all to the last session of today's class, that is the life processes. But before I start today's topic, I would like to revise the topics that we have done in the previous class. In the previous class, we have finished with the transportation of the materials in the organisms. Along with that, we have done the blood pressure, we have done the pulse rate, we have done the heart rate, we have done the heart sounds. And finally, we commence the class with the transportation in the plants. And today I am going to start the next life process, that is the excretion. Excretion is what? Is the removal. The process by which the waste products which are produced during the metabolic activities in the body is excreted or removed or get rid of is known as excretion. Okay, so why it has to be excreted? Because if it starts accumulating in our body, it will be toxic. We have studied in the respiration, the gaseous waste is excreted out through the lungs. The nutrition waste is excreted out through the large intestine. Similarly, due to the other metabolic processes, some nitrogenous waste like urea, uric acid, ammonia starts generating in our body, but they are also toxic. So they has to be removed from our body. So there is an excretory system in the humans and it is comprised of number of organs. But in the other organisms, there are different organs for the excretion. So for example, in the unicellular organism, because it's a very simple organism, the waste product is generally transported in the form of diffusion. That means from the body, the waste products are excreted out by the diffusion to the outer world. This is the picture. This is the waste accumulated, and through the diffusion it is transported to the outside world. But in the multicellular organism, there will be a specialized organs. Like in the cockroach, they have Malpighian tubules. In some, they are nephridia. There are certain other like skin also. So different organisms have different organs for the excretion. So the main aim of the excretion is to not to accumulate these toxics in the body. Let's go to the excretion in human beings. The human being, if you can have a look on the excretory system, it comprises of a pair of kidney, okay, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and finally the opening that is called as urethra. So if it is asked that what organs are present in the excretory system of humans, there are a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. And between the opening of the urinary bladder and the urethra, there is a switch that is called a sphincter. This word we had already discussed in the digestive system. That means it's a valve. So when the pressure is built on the walls of the urinary bladder by the urine collected in the bladder, this opens and allows the movement of the urine through the urethra. Okay, if I show you the detail of the excretory system, you can see that there are two kidneys, there are two ureters, there is one bladder and one opening. But along with it, there are some blood vessels and some other glands also. There is one position of above the kidney is the gland. What is that gland? That is called as adrenal gland. Above the left kidney is the left adrenal gland. Above the right kidney is the right adrenal gland. Adrenal gland we will study in the next chapter. So gland itself suggests you that it produces some kind of hormones. Adrenal glands produces adrenaline hormone. Now you can see that there are two blood vessels, inferior vena cava and aorta. You must be now aware of the vena cava and aorta. Vena cava is the main vein, aorta is the main artery. Inferior means it is connected to the lower part, and kidney location in the human body is in the abdominal region on the either side of the backbone or backbone, and where it is going to the lower abdomen area on the either side at the back it is located. So definitely it will be connected to the inferior vena cava. Now inferior vena cava is further branched into two branches. One is connected to the gland and one is connected to the kidney. So the vena cava, which is further connected branch to the and connected to the adrenal gland, it is called as left adrenal vein, and the vena cava branch which is connected to the kidney, it is called as left renal kidney. The word renal means it is connected to the kidney. Like pulmonary word suggests you the connection with lungs, renal suggests you the connection with the kidneys. Adrenal means it is connected to the adrenal gland. The right one connected to the gland is right adrenal vein, and which is connected to the kidney, it is right renal vein. Now similarly, aorta is branched into arteries. So the artery which is connected to the gland, it is called as adrenal artery, and which is connected to the kidney, it is called as renal artery. Okay, now the aorta is bringing the oxygen-rich blood, but along with the oxygen-rich blood, it is also bringing the dissolved salts, dissolved nutrients, as well as the nitrogenous waste. So the aorta is bringing the nitrogenous waste. It is moving inside the kidney. Inside the kidney, there are number of filtering units present, and that units are called as nephrons. What are they called as? Nephrons. These nephrons are filtering the nitrogenous waste, and then it is filtered out in the form of urine, and it is passed to the urinary bladder, and inside the urinary bladder it is collected, and from the urinary bladder it is excreted out. Okay, understood? So now, and after the filtration of the nitrogenous waste by the nephrons, the blood is passed to the renal vein. From the renal vein, it is passed to the inferior vena cava, and finally it is sent to the heart for pumping into to the lungs for the purification. Okay, understood this much? Now go to the next one. Now you can see that this is another picture of the human excretory system. You can see that this is the kidney, this is the adrenal gland, and this is the outer membrane of the kidney. Then we just next to the outer membrane, the area inside the kidney is called as the cortex region, and when we go inside, the innermost area of the kidney is called as medulla. Inside the medulla, the nephrons are located. From the nephrons, the waste which is sent out, it is collected by these tubes, the fan-like structure. This is called as collecting duct, and the collecting duct is connected to the ureters. The urine is passed to the ureter and finally to the urinary bladder. Okay, you can see that renal vein, renal artery is there. This I have already explained. Okay, and the area which is having the connection of the ureter to the collecting duct is known as pelvis, renal pelvis. Now, this is the structure of a nephron. You can see that the nephron is having a cup-shaped structure and the tail-shaped structure. So, the nephron is divided into two parts. One is cup, one is this tail. The cup is called as Bowman's capsule. What it is called? Bowman's capsule. And the tail part is called as tubule. Tubule is further divided into certain portions, but you remember Bowman's capsule and tubule. Inside the Bowman's capsule, there is a tuft of capillaries. Like in the lungs, there is a set of capillaries present. Similarly, in the kidneys also, there are some capillaries present, which is doing the absorption of the waste and the sending of the pure blood. Okay, now afferent arteriole, this is new for you. Afferent arteriole means which is bringing the nitrogenous blood to the glomerulus, and in the glomerulus the filtration is done, and after the filtration, without the nitrogenous waste, the blood which is already filtered, that is passed to the efferent arteriole. What is done? It is passed to the efferent arteriole. Okay. Now, we are here in the detailed structure of the nephron. Each nephron has a cup-shaped structure called as Bowman's capsule containing a bundle of capillaries called as glomerulus. So this is the Bowman's capsule where is the tuft of capillaries that is called as glomerulus is present. The Bowman's capsule lead to the tubular structure which joins the collecting duct. This is the tubular structure. You can see this is the complete tubule and this portion is called as collecting duct. The tubule region is divided into three parts. The first initial part, which is having the connection to the Bowman's capsule, is called as proximal tubule. And then when it is proximal tubule comes down and there is a U-shaped structure, this is called as Henle's loop or loop of Henle, okay, which is having the capillary network. You can see that vein and arteries are there, which is connected by the capillaries. Then after the Henle loop, which is having the connection to the collecting duct, is called as distal tubule. So this entire portion is called as tubule and this is called as collecting duct. The renal artery, as I have already said, renal artery brings the nitrogenous waste like ammonia, uric acid and urea and urine. Why urine? Because excess water from the blood is also, which is having the dissolved salts and the nutrients, is also brought by the renal artery into the nephron. Where in the nephron? In the glomerulus. The glomerulus filters the waste, water and salt and it forms the urine. That is sent to the tubule and from the tubule it is sent to the collecting duct. From the collecting duct it goes to the ureters and from the ureters it goes to the urinary bladder. The waste then passes to the ureter into the urinary bladder and then sent out through the urethra as urine. But only the nitrogenous waste is sent out. But the useful products like amino acid, glucose, salt is reabsorbed by the capillaries and sent to the renal vein. Now here you see that afferent arteriole is bringing the impure blood. After the filtration, the efferent arteriole is sending down through the capillaries. The blood is passed to the renal vein and that vein is having the connection to the inferior vena cava and then it's sent to the heart. Okay, so this way the filtration process is done and the urine is formed and excreted out. But in some cases what happens, and some patients who are suffering from high blood pressure or diabetes, the kidney starts getting affected. In that case what happens, some people kidney stops working or it starts low functioning, and in some cases when accident happens the kidneys get damaged. So in that condition, when the kidney stops filtering or stops functioning, that is called as kidney failure or kidney damage. To cure that condition, there are two methods. One is called as temporary, one is called as permanent. Temporary, we use some artificial machine to do the same function what the kidney is doing. So that is what it is called as artificial kidney. In the permanent method, we do the transplantation. Transplantation means removing the unfunctional kidney and implanting the functional kidney to the body. But from where this functional kidney will you get? If the patient has some relative, blood related, or if the blood, tissues, many things matches with the patient, that person can donate one kidney. Since to have a healthy life, we can survive on one kidney also. So one kidney we can donate. So in that case, what happens? One kidney somebody donates and we transplant into the patient's body. If everything functions, that kidney starts working for the patient. But in the other case, the temporary, and that is the permanent method, is really expensive and tedious and it is sometimes rejects also. But temporary method is called as dialysis. What is it called? Dialysis or kidney, artificial kidney. A kidney can filter 100 to 150 liters of blood every day. If the kidneys are not functioning properly, the waste starts accumulating in the blood. This results in coma and even the death. To keep the patient alive or cure this, we are subjected to a method that is called as dialysis. Dialysis means the kidney as a machine. Dialysis maintains the body balance in the following ways. It controls the blood pressure, it removes the excess water and the waste from the body, prevents the chemicals like potassium, bicarbonate and sodium from accumulating in the body. But how it is done? Now you can see that this is the patient. Now you can see that it is connected to two places. One is the artery is connected and one is the vein connected. Through the, you can see that through the artery, the waste materials, the waste blood, that means the nitrogenous waste collected blood is passed to a machine. This is called as dialyzer. Inside the dialyzer, we fill a solution that is called as dialyzing solution. This is the pure dialyzing solution which is entering the dialysis. And the blood is also passed to this dialyzer. And that solution helps to absorb all the nitrogenous waste from the blood, and that solution which is absorbed all the nitrogenous waste is excreted out through this dialyzer. In this is the used one, this is the unused one. And after the absorption of the waste, the purified blood is passed to the vein of the person. Okay, now along with that you can see that there are certain machines also fitted up. You can see here this is called as arterial pressure. So how much blood is moving in, how much pressure it is moving, that is measured here and controlled here. This is a pump which pumps the impure blood to the machine. Okay, this is the inflow pressure monitor, that means how much pressure the blood is moving in the dialyzer, that is also maintained here. This is the fresh dialysate, that means the dialyzing solution is entering the machine. This is the used one along with the nitrogenous waste. Okay, now here there is a saline solution which is also added to maintain the salt level in the blood. Now after the purification, here also the pressure will be measured. This will be what? The venous pressure, because it is connected to the vein. The blood pressure has to be maintained in the veins also. Okay, so this way the filtration is done. One more thing, you can see that heparin pump. Heparin is a blood anticoagulant solution. Anticoagulant means the blood has a tendency to clot because platelets are there. So if we put some injection of the heparin, what happens? The blood will not clot and it will keep on flowing in the machine. So this way the waste is absorbed and excreted out with the help of a machine. This is called as dialyzer, and the whole process is called as dialysis. Now this is the last topic for you, excretion in the plant. Like we are accumulating a number of waste in the body and it is excreting out. In the same way, the plants also does some metabolism and some excretory products are also formed. Like CO2 is the excretory product of the respiration. It is excreted out through stomata. And the oxygen, which is the excretory product of the photosynthesis, it is also excreted out through stomata. The water which is excessively produced or remained in the plant is also excreted out through the stomata, but the process of transpiration. Some waste products stored in the leaves and removed when the leaves fall off. Okay, some waste products are stored in the vacuoles of the plant cell. Some waste products like gums, raisins are stored in the xylem cells. They are also removed from the bark, you can see. Some wastes are removed through the roots. So basically the excretory organs for the plants is stomata, leaves, vacuoles, xylem cells and roots. Okay, so this much is in the chapter. Now I am going to give you some questions which you are going to do it and revise the whole chapter by reading the chapter. Okay children, thank you so much.